Ah, is that working? There we go. So I've had a lot of people ask me about this bridge, and so I'm going to explain what it is, because obviously, as I was just demonstrating, it stays in tune just great, but it looks like a standard kind of two-post, similar to like a Godot 510 style bridge. Which, by the way, the Godot bridges, which I have on most of my Suhr guitars, they work great. They sound good, and they're terrific, and they have advantages as well. This is a new bridge that I've been checking out now for about, well, I guess I've had it for 6 months on this guitar. So, what the deal is this is something that Trev Wilkinson's been working on for a while, and as far as I know, at this point, it's still not really in production. So I was able to get a hold of one at NAMM last year, and he actually brought one by, which is super kind of him, to the Suhr booth. John Suhr, I think, offered some suggestions and had some opinions on this bridge and stuff, had a little bit to do with the input. I don't know 100% about how much John talked to the folks at Wilkinson and whatnot, but anyway, I think there was some back and forth there. So, and we've expressed a lot of interest in this bridge because no matter what, the standard kind of Strat tremolos, even with locking tuners, which my guitar has, as well as the graduated post locking tuners that Suhr uses, which are just terrific, as well as a real slippery, the Tusk style nut. Even with that stuff, I find that you still have problems, mainly on the E string and the G string, for whatever reason, many times with traditional Strat bridges. So what the Wilkinson folks came up with is a little screw, and you can see how the string breaks across the saddle and then goes underneath that little Allen screw. And what you do is you simply lock down that little Allen screw on top of the string. So the string passes. When you're taking it's what, as I was saying, with a 510 bridge, there's going to be an advantage, which is it's actually going to be easier to put strings on because you do have one extra little step here, but you don't have to clip a ball end or anything like that. You string it through the back like a regular tremolo, goes through the block, and then comes across the saddle and goes under that little set screw, and then you lock that screw down with an Allen key on the top of the string, and it has the tone of, basically sounds like the 510 bridges to me, but it stays in tune like a Floyd Rose. It's pretty much rock solid as far as the tuning stability goes. So when I was growing up, I played Floyd Roses a lot, and I loved, I grew up in the 80s playing guitar, and I grew up with those bridges. So the clipping the ball in, putting the strings on, and the sound of them, and all that stuff was just kind of part of what I grew up with. I was used to it, and I liked it. But at some point, I gravitated away from it, I guess. But I forgot that, going. It's sort of a big part of the way that I played. I was always grabbing it and vibratoing chords, kind of like Alex Lifeson. I was really influenced by him, especially chordally and stuff, and I always loved with chords how he would use the bar during the phase where he got kind of in. And it's interesting because Alex actually used, I believe, on those what are they called, Henter or whatever he called them, the kind of Strat guitars that you saw around the Signals, and then what was the next album, Grace Under Pressure. The guitars that he was playing around that period they had I can't remember if they were Floyd's with no fine tuners or not. I think they might have been like the original Floyd Rose, and then they had just not in the standard. But anyway, he was using the bridge with the locking saddle. So my point is that I think that a lot of the tuning stability issues are solved for sure with anywhere where there's a friction point and where the string can slip and then get caught or not return back to where you started before you used the bar. That there's issues. And John always was saying to me if I was ever having issues with the guitar, he's saying, well, it's the string and the saddle, and he said it mainly happens on the G and the E. He thought. So I was super excited to try this bridge, and I think that John, at least from what I know, if this bridge becomes easy to get, this is when you're a manufacturer and you've got orders for guitars and things, you need to fulfill orders, and so there's concerns about making sure there's enough parts, since you don't want a bridge being back ordered, something to hold up a guitar going to a dealer. That would be bad, and customers would be unhappy, and it would be an issue. So they just have to make sure that the supply can be consistent and stuff. Because as far as I know, there's very, very, very few of these out there now. But this one, I've been using it for 6 months. I should say too, broken one string, excuse me, using this, and that's it. In a very, over 6 months of using it. I mean, it is rock solid. And as I say, that used to be a big part of, how I played. Doing a bunch of that stuff with the bar. I really enjoy it. So that's the story on the bridge. And if we can, if we can get a steady supply of them, I would like to start using them. I still love the 510. It's a terrific bridge, and this is essentially a drop-in replacement. So, when the supply gets better on these, if you've got a guitar, one of my guitars or a different guitar that has one of these two-post bridges, you should be able to get this and just drop it right in. And I don't think they're that expensive. It's going to be an easy retrofit, and you could try it and go back to the other bridge if you want. Once again, there is that extra little step of having to lock the string under that little saddle, and that might be enough to turn some people. Some people might be perfectly fine with a regular bridge. That could be seen as a disadvantage for some people, but for me, that crazy tuning stability that you're hearing makes it all worth it. I just love the bridge, and I feel like I've tested it now for 6 months, and that it's super duper solid. And one thing I haven't even barely mentioned is the tone. The thing with a Floyd is that they do have a sound. I want to say that they rob. I put one on a guitar recently, and the guitar still sounds it sounds great. It's awesome. But it's when you hear the difference going from a regular bridge to the Floyd, it changes the sound a little bit. It's a little bit different sound. You can work with it and stuff, and just EQ differently or set your amp a little differently. It's not a big deal, but I just really dig the sound of this bridge is essentially identical to what you would expect out of a two-post strap bridge, because it is, right? The only difference is that one little Allen screw. And once again, there's no cutting of the ball end or anything like that with this bridge. You just string it up. There's one extra step, and then when you take the strings off, you got to loosen it. So if you do break a string, you're going to be stuck there for a second on stage. You have to find that Allen key, loosen it, pull the string through, do another one, and then that's it. That's the only thing. It's just that one extra little step. So that's it. So a lot of people have asked me about it. When's it going to be on my guitars? Or totally, I don't know. They're working on producing them, I think, and getting the supply up. But I would like to have it as a regular, main kind of feature on my signature guitar if it's possible. And once again, if you've got one of them already or something that's in the works, it's going to be inexpensive. I'm not sure if the saddles will retrofit or not to the 510 bridges. I'm not sure about that. I'm thinking maybe no. I think maybe you need to get the whole thing as a unit, but they're not expensive. So I just wanted to sign on, do a little live about this, and tell you guys, because I get a lot of questions about it. There's a lot of questions when I post pictures of the guitar on Instagram and stuff. People are like, "What's up with those bridge saddles?" So I just wanted to make a video about that. So I'm going to look at the chat here and just a couple of comments that are right down at the bottom, and answer a few questions, and then I got to run actually because I'm headed off to another city in about 45 minutes here. I'm in Japan. Here you go, folks. There's Tokyo today. It's a nice day. The typhoon passed. There was a typhoon here. Crazy winds. Excuse me. Crazy winds. Speak, Peter. Still early. I haven't had enough caffeine. Crazy winds and rain. But that's gone. So I'll just back up a little bit here and see if you guys have any questions about the bridge at all. This is kind of, by the way, in lieu of, I haven't done a Sunday live for a little while, so I thought I'd sign on and just do a quick, like, little half an hour talking about the guitar and the bridge and stuff. You guys got any questions about the bridge? Anybody want to know anything in particular? Let me know, and if not, that's cool. Okay, somebody says, with those screws on top of the saddles, is muting affected in any way? That's from Sasha. No. Feels great. Like it doesn't really feel, I mean, I guess it's got its own thing, but it feels fine. It doesn't seem to affect my muting or anything at all. They're pretty low profile, and they're just smooth Allen screw type screws on the top. So, Jack says, love the standard strap bridge, but this really makes the tuning stability seem much easier. Yeah, I mean, it's like once it's tuned, locked, the strings are stretched, it's solid. You know, I was so happy with the day that I got this and tried it out. I was just like, yes, it's amazing, it's killing. So, Resurrection says, English billboards in Japan. Yeah, there's a lot of English that goes on in Japan as well as other languages. You know. I think that I actually learned hiragana and katakana so I can read two of the the simplest of the two Japanese alphabets, and there's kanji, which is incredibly difficult and I'll probably never get. But I can read it like maybe a 3 or 4-year-old. I can read the two of the alphabets now, and there's an alphabet called katakana. This is not to get out in the weeds here, but there's an alphabet called katakana that is it's basically they're you can think of them as letters, I guess, but they're more to pronounce syllables. They're more like, it's like pronouncing syllables with each katakana character. And katakana alphabet is specifically to pronounce foreign words. So like computer, you would use katakana to spell that word because it's a foreign word, but it's the same word that they use here to describe a computer. So there's even when you're seeing, my point being, even when you're seeing a lot of writing over here, that is something that you won't recognize or that you can't read. Many times it's spelling English words or French words or words that they've adapted to the Japanese language. They're foreign words. Yeah. Okay. Sustain is affected, says Zelos. No. It sustains just like it sounds like a 510 bridge. Really. It's very, very, very similar. Is it floating? Yes, it's floating. Yeah, so you can pull up. I have mine, it'll do flutter a little bit, like a Floyd would, but not that much actually. It basically feels like a 510 bridge. It's the only thing that's different is that little screw on the saddle. It's a very, very simplistic thing. So Puffy G says, from what I've seen from your pictures, I don't see any difference in the bridge plate. Is there something I haven't noticed? No, the plate looks identical. I just remember having a conversation with John where he said he didn't think that these saddles would retrofit right to a 510 style, but I don't know, and they still might be figuring all that stuff out, because this is a prototype. So I've been sort of reluctant to talk about it, because I don't want to talk about it and it's not available yet, but then again, I figured, like, I remember when I was growing up watching guitar players, you see, like, for instance, you'd see Eddie Van Halen or Brad Gillis or these guys in the early 80s, and they would have something Floyd on their guitar, and they'd use it, because it's like, that's how you learn and it's like, put it out there on the road and use it. I remember seeing Eddie Van Halen with Rockinger tremolo on his guitar. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but he had a couple Kramers that had that, that Rockinger. You guys probably don't, probably very few people out there that remember that bridge, but he was always trying different things, and I thought, well, I want to try it. I don't want to, just because it's not commercially available, I want to try it. I want to be the guinea pig and put it on the guitar for 6 months and see what how it works, if it breaks strings, if there's any issues with the tone or with certain things. And uh, Daly says, can you get a decent hamburger there? You can get a decent anything in Japan. Japan, you can get the best of everything basically because they don't screw around with anything here. They quality, if it's hamburgers or steak. I mean, some of the steak I've had here in the last, I mean, it's famous, right? Like Wagyu and Kobe and some of the beef. I don't eat a lot of red meat anymore, but here you kind of, if you eat it at all, you kind of have to because it's so good. It's just out of control. So yeah, you can definitely get a decent hamburger. Okay, ever looked at Super V bridges? Getting rid of the friction at the post or screws by using a piece of spring steel is pretty cool. Adding those locking screws would be even cooler. Yeah, I don't think the friction at the post, if the post is, the knife edges are super sharp, I don't think that that's where the issue lies. The issue lies with the string busting over the saddle and going through the hole into the block and then over the saddle, and then when you move the string moves over the saddle and it just has room to kind of not return then back to where it started. I got to run pretty quick here, guys, because I got to take off. Did I get to see the Fuji Rock Festival? No, but it was happening this past weekend. It just ended, and I was hanging out the other day at Beat Cafe in Shibuya, where I go all the time, and Post Malone was there after his set. He came in. It's just a little hole in the wall in Shibuya, but it's like a musician ground zero in Tokyo. If anybody comes to Tokyo, go to Beat Cafe. It's fun. Let's see here. What is the name or type of this Wilkinson? I don't know if he has a name for it yet, to tell you the truth, and he hasn't really been advertising it because I'm sure he's just waiting to until the production is something where it's consistent till he talks about it more. So Jeff saying, just got here, new bridge released. Not yet, I don't think, but hopefully it's soon. But I just wanted to tell people about it and explain it a little further because I get a lot of questions about it. I thought I'd just make this little live video about it, and then if I get any questions, I can refer people right to the video and say, well, watch the video and you can, get the full story there. JTube says you're searching Suhr's website now. Do they sell left-handed models? Yeah, sure. They will make you left-handed guitars. They're a custom guitar builder still, even though they have some sort of set models that you can order anything you want left-handed. You want something crazy like, Wenge neck or Pow Pharaoh or whatever you want, and then some kind of crazy finish, you can order it from them in a left-handed guitar. How much will it be? I don't think it's going to be very expensive. I can't say that because I'm not Wilkinson, so I'm not sure. Like if it's aftermarket or through Suhr to order as an option. John has stated that he wants to be able to offer it as an option and possibly as the standard bridge on my guitar. I would like to offer it as the standard bridge on my guitar as long as the supply is good, because I don't want a bridge to be holding up. Like I say, the 510 bridge is great. I have it on my 2 other signature models, and I'm using those guitars all the time, and they're terrific. I just really, really, really dig this one. So as long as there's a supply that is consistent, then it's not going to be an issue with holding up production and shipping the guitars. That's the main concern, because nobody wants to wait for that. Yeah, is blue the only color? No, in my guitar you can get it in gold and black, and this is actually called ocean turquoise. Let's see, how many of these guitars do I have? I have one in each color, black, a gold, and a blue. And what you do to switch from regular string gauge to a hybrid string gauge without twisting your neck? That's a good question. I don't really worry about things like that, but I could see where if you're used to 9 to 42 or something, you go to 9 to 46, maybe the tension on the bass side could be an issue. I'm not really sure. Probably not going to be an issue on a maple neck. Mahogany, I guess it's possible, but I've never really, that would be a good question for a tech. Have I ever played any of the Bernie guitars? Sure, yeah, it's a Japanese brand. What kind of block? It's like I don't know what it's made out of, to be honest. Looks like that. It's black. Standard kind of, looks similar to just like a 510 style. Your thoughts on the Buzz Feeten system? Seemed cool. I was always confused about how to intonate it exactly, and kind of like seemed like a pain in the butt. I mean, I know it's just little intonation offsets, but I have a few guitars with it, and the reality is they seem to intonate fine even without the Buzz Feeten uh, offsets. You know, and somebody told me once that the guitar will still intonate better than a regular, just standard guitar, even if you don't factor in those little offsets, which are just 1 or 2 cents on certain strings. Um, let's see. Amadeo says, "Hey Pete, I think you're referring to the Hinter Sportscaster that Alex played back in the day." Yeah, that's right. And then that guy you got together with, and they made it actually again. They made it available. You know, he was making like a run of them, so I thought that was cool. Because I always liked that guitar, the white Strat that he played with the Floyd. Let's see here. Puffy says, I remember the Rockinger didn't have spring steel instead of individual springs. You know, I can't remember. Had little fine tuners on. It was kind of weird. And the lock went behind the nut, which kind of diffuse. I like the Floyd Rose where it's like, I mean, I get if you like the sound of a certain nut material, then it was kind of cool, I guess, to have the Kaler style lock behind the nut, or the Rockinger style behind the nut, as opposed to the Floyd Rose, which is the nut when it's a lock nut. But for tuning stability, you've still got that then 1 point of friction. The nut's still there, which is like, well, that's the point, I think. Are pull-ups affected versus Floyd? I didn't get to see the beginning. No, it's just floating. And anybody that's getting here late, a bunch of people say I'm here late. What the heck is the bridge? Just go. You can go back and watch the video because it's going to get uploaded, and so I'll explain the entire thing. Because I got to go. Actually, I got to leave, and I'm on my way to Nagoya. What number of strings do I use? I guess what gauge that means. I use 10 to 46 Ernie balls. Robert's asking I saw the Line 6 video where you're using the power cab. Are you going to get one? Yes, I am. Actually, it's cool. You know, great little solution to amplifying a modeler. It's very small, powered, has IRs built in. I want to try it actually for a few different ideas I have. So, okay, guys, I gotta run because I got 2 suitcases that aren't quite packed up here, and I gotta leave in a half an hour. So, check out the bridge once again. Further, if you didn't catch the beginning of the video, go back and watch it because it's going to get uploaded. But the basic thing is that it'll stay in tune basically like a locking tremolo, but it's not. Well, it is. It is locking. What am I talking about? Got little locks on it, but it's not a Floyd Rose style, you know, where it requires massive routing or alterations to your guitar. It's really, really basic, straight, pretty much drop-in replacement for a 2-post style trem. Sounds like a traditional 2-post style or Fender style bridge or whatever you want to call it. And sounds just, you know, it's just a question now whether or not they can produce it in the quantities that you would want or need. You know what I'm saying? To keep guitars coming off the line and being shipped out in due time. Okay, so have a great rest of your Sunday, and hope that was that I was able to answer some questions about the bridge. Okay, take care, you guys. See ya.